Mr. Speaker, just a few years ago, Emma Watson's he for she speech spread across the whole entire internet, but furthermore raised awareness of feminism, of gender stereotypes, and exactly how we can tackle the patriarchy. We don't think that the context that they have given you, that you have to use aggression in order to get the mindset of misogynistic men to change, is one that stands, but furthermore is one that the feminist movement should push for. We stand for people like Emma Watson using things like cooperation, like reaching out for support and doing it in a very moderate way to change the mindset of politicians, to change the mindset of these misogynistic men. And for that reason, we don't think that mirroring should be used or should be supported by the feminist movement. We're going to talk about three main themes coming from Leader of Opposition. First of all, what exactly is the phase that the feminist movement is, and what kind of taxes it should be supporting. Secondly, we're going to talk about how this is going to radicalize not only the men, but also the women within the feminist movement and those who have not entered into it. Lastly, we're going to talk about how this is going to be a regression of society, how it's going to actually raise tension and raise the antipathy of men towards those kinds of women. Before that, let's go into the one rebuttal going to the Prime Minister, right? What she seemed to say is that by saying that, for example, like switching the idols and like the whole like narrative, the perception of misogyny will actually be put into perspective, and you'll be able to actually understand those sexual stereotypes or gender stereotypes that we have, right? And we concede to this, like yes, it is a shock. However, at the same time, you have to think about the cost that comes with that shock. Because when you, for example, switch that kind of gender stereotype, those gender pronouns, what you do is that you actually reinforce that narrative of victim shaming. You reinforce that narrative of the fact that you can blame one person about one deed when in fact it was not that kind of state whatsoever, right? So you reinforce the idea that gender is something that should be put into play with that, but furthermore the fact that you can like point fingers at one person. We think that the cost that comes with that shock is not one that is worthy, but we're going to prove to you how there's a host of different ways that you can actually have that shock in that kind of effect in a less shocking way. So let's go on to the first idea about what exactly the priorities of the feminist movement is. So what phase of the feminist movement is right now? We can see that, for example, in the very, very early parts of the feminist movement, like all movements, the feminists are a bit radical, right? You have to have some kind of shock, you have to have some kind of large effect to be able to get the eyes and get like the attention of the public, but furthermore of like the men in like the higher positions of society, right? However, we think that yes, there may be a small minority of misogynistic men. However, there is like a general conception within a society that equality is a good thing, that females should have rights in some way, and furthermore, like with the rise of, for example, female equality, like maternalism leaves, we think that the conception of equality is one that is filtered through all of society right now, meaning the fact that the necessity to use radical means and use aggression to get your point across is no longer necessary. So we think that rather right now, what the feminist movement should focus on is two main things. First of all, we think it's on things like cooperation, right? Cooperation rather than animosity, getting support from the society, getting understanding from that society, right? And we think that the feminist movement right now is actually taking a turn toward events for that, right? For example, the he for she movement right now having a rise is the idea of the fact that cooperation is something that is very important. The idea that feminist movement is using things like cartoons and using things like, for example, children's books rather than taking aggressive means is because of the fact that they're trying to do it in a softer stance, in a way that actually gains cooperation and support from all age groups and from all society, rather than attacking them and, for example, like saying really bad things about them, right? But secondly, we think that they also focus on things like effectiveness, right? Keep in mind here, when you switch those pronouns of that misogynistic man, you are not giving that chance of a man to be able to rethink anything at all, right? You're directly attacking him, and through that, you are leading to him having more animosity and not taking any change whatsoever. We think that the feminist movement right now should concentrate on effectively changing and neutralizing the ideas of those men rather than directly attacking them. We don't think that there's any like logic or any idea as to how exactly this misogynistic men by being attacked will change it that way. And we think that in both means of cooperation and in the means of effectiveness, this actually does not work for the current feminist movement. So with that in mind, how does this actually radicalize both men, women, and the message it gives to society, right? So first off, let's go off with these misogynistic men. When you as a misogynistic man know that the more radical of a post that you write, that will actually have more of a counter effect and a reaction from that feminist movement, you yourself have no incentive to actually cut down on that, but rather you want that attention. You want to get that attention of the feminist movement and get them heated up, and through that you give them an incentive to actually radicalize their posts even more and hold that belief even stronger because of the attention that you get from exactly that feminist movement. Like the example here is, for example, terrorists, right? If you, for example, broadcast of beheading the ISIS people on CNN that radicalizes and gives the attention to that terrorist group even more. We think it's the same logic being used for this kind of mirroring in that feminist movement. But secondly, we think that for moderate feminists or women who are like, maybe I should go into the feminist movement, maybe I shouldn't, that very like minor, that group within society that's actually very major, we think that when you see these massive posts being spread on Twitter, on Facebook, where people are attacking men, where you're putting men in a position where they are uncomfortable, where you make it seem as though feminists are very angry people who directly want to attack you for every single post that you make, we think that as a woman, you are A, ashamed of being associated with that movement, B, embarrassed of it, or C, just don't want to have anything to do with it because of the negative perception that it gives you on SNS, on, for example, your friend group. And through that way, what we think that leads to is that women shying away from that kind of a movement and not wanting to support it whatsoever. Well, let's go on to even a broader movement about society, right? What message does this give to society? Look at the main criticisms of feminism right now, right? One, it's trying to divide society, but two, it's trying to prioritize women over men within society, right? When you have these posts being filtered within society, that actually reinforces the idea to people that, oh, they are trying to divide us, oh, they are trying to attack us, and through that, there is no will, for example, politicians to cooperate, no community support, and we think that this is very harmful. Why is all of these kinds of groups being like losing their support very harmful? Because feminism at the end of the day is a social movement. In order for them to actually get their agenda across and have their goals achieved, they need collective support, they need policies to be changed, they need politician support, they need people to actually believe in them. When you, for example, as a woman, and when you lose support as a movement of all these groups, you are losing their plan, you are losing the momentum that you need to actually get change across. At the end of the day, all this mirroring does is A, attack these misogynistic men, making them more radical, B, cause women to move away from it, but C, at the end of the day, you are saying to the whole society that we are not here to support you, we are only here to support ourselves, and through that, we are going to divide our society, and we don't think that that's something people want to support. So at the end of the day, we oppose.